Hello, Michelle here with My Designs in the Chaos, where it's my goal to develop, encourage, and grow your crafting talent and confidence. And right now, we are in the middle of a series called The Daily Dose of Design. And today, we are live with episode number 5. I would love it if you gave me a comment on if you're enjoying the series so far, or if you have learned anything new in our Daily Dose of Design series. I've also put a link there if you would like to get these episodes in your inbox every single day. So you can join us there as well. Or if you have a question, to shoot me an email. I'm going to put that right here on the screen. So if you want one of your questions about designing or SVG files, if you want one of those answered in one of these Daily Dose of Design videos, then make sure to send that over to us. So, and let me put that right here on the screen so that you have that as well. So, okay, perfect. Hello, hello, hello. So today's question comes from, oh yay, Diane says she signed up for the daily series in her inbox already. Good, Diane. Thank you so much for that. So today's question comes from a reader, one of our community members, is what I would like to refer to her as, a community member who has a question that is actually a really common question that happens pretty frequently. We get asked this a lot, and the question is, so I've gone ahead and I've made my file, I have my design, and now how do I get it to other people? How do I share this file? So I made this file for a charity, or I made this file for a school, or I made this file for my friend. How do I get that actual SVG file from me to her? So yay. Oh, I'm so glad that you guys are learning so much. That's great positive feedback, and that really encourages me and motivates me. So thank you so much. I'm really glad that you're learning tons of new information in this series. So the question is, so how do I share my SVG files? I have them designed, I have them made. How do I get them so that people can actually use them? Now, this is kind of a two-part question. So I want to kind of preface this with, if you are sending this to something like a charity or a school or a company or something that you have created a unique design for that they're going to use maybe on a shirt or for a promotion or for a fundraiser or something like that, then they probably have a place that they're getting the shirts printed at. And you want to contact them and let them know or find out, do they need the SVG version of the file, or do they need the PNG version of the file? If they need the PNG, you'll want to make sure it's in the proper colors, and you'll want to make sure it's saved at a very high resolution. That comes back to what we talked about over on day 1 about what is an SVG file, and if you stretch it, it doesn't get pixelated. A lot of times people need the PNG. That one, if you stretch it, it does. So you want to make sure you save it at a really high resolution. So the first step in sharing your files, depending on who you're sharing it with, is finding out what file type they need, because they might not be cutting it on their cutting machine. They might be using it inside their graphics software. So they might also need an EPS version of the file. And in that case, because a lot of printers utilize the EPS version to be able to print like mass production. So it depends on what file type specifically that they need. So that's step number 1, is find out what file type do they actually need from you. And so that will really help eliminate and narrow down what you specifically need to do with that file to prepare it to send it off to wherever it is going to be printed or utilized. Now, let's say that it is another friend. It's, another friend who has a cutting machine, and you made a file that you guys are both going to use. It's completely unique to you. You designed it, and you want to give it to her so that she can cut it as well. The easiest way to deliver another SVG file to somebody else is via a zipped file folder. Now, I like to put it inside of a zipped file folder for a couple of reasons. So number 1, if you're going to share the actual SVG with somebody else, you want to make sure that it's packaged inside of a zipped up file folder. And you want to do that for two reasons. Number one, size. Whenever you make an SVG and you have an SVG, a PNG, a DXF, an EPS, you have all these file types in there. Maybe you even have like a picture, like a mock up image, a JPEG of what it looks like. That starts to become very, very large and hard to deliver virtually. And so when you put it inside of a folder and you zip up that folder, it makes it smaller and easier to deliver online. So you'll notice over on my website, mydesignsandthechaos.com, we have tons, and I'm going to put that up here. If you kind of want to go snoop around a little bit, let me put that up here on the crawler so you can see. We have tons, we have hundreds of free SVG files over on our blog, mydesignsandthechaos.com. Every single one of those designs is inside of a zipped up file folder. Again, for size. It really helps because otherwise it can become very cumbersome with all of the different file types, as well as really large and slow. And so you want to make sure, step number one, it's inside of a zipped up file folder. Number two, it keeps it safe. Sometimes when it's traveling digitally via different places, and if it's on a website or in an email, or you're delivering it in a different place, sometimes it can become corrupt. And so having it in that zip file folder kind of protects it a little bit. Think of putting it inside of a big bubble. And so that's what that zip file folder does. So when you first discover, if you're trying to figure out what type of file type do they need, or you're just wanting to deliver the SVG, step number one is make sure it's inside of a zipped folder. Number two, the second way that you can actually get it to that person is via email. Because it's in a zipped file folder, if you're just delivering one, you should be able to attach it in an email and send it directly to whoever it is that needs that file, whether it be that charity or whether it be your friend down the street. You should take the zip file folder and send it in an email. Now, I have to say this caveat: make sure if you are sharing files like this, that they are files that you personally have designed. So most designers, actually, I don't know of any designers that allow their files to be emailed around like that. So if it's yours, you have the ability to do that. But if it's somebody else's, direct them to the original source to give that designer credit for that original file. So that's number two. That's the second thing that or second way that you can share that file. So the second way is via email inside of a zipped file folder. So sometimes if you don't zip it and you just attach it as an email, it can get flagged as spam, or it can get flagged as a virus, or because like we talked about a couple days ago, that your computer is reading it as an internet file and you don't want it to get marked as spam. So again, keep it inside that zip folder and send it via email. The third way that you can get your files to other people is via Google Drive. I absolutely love Google Drive. And the ladies who are with me, who work with me on my team, they know this. I absolutely love Google Drive. I think it's a great way for a whole bunch of people to access one place of information. And so Google Drive, if you have your file in a zipped folder, you can upload it into Google Drive, and then you can share the direct link. You just click on share and it'll say give to anybody who has access to this link. And then you can tell your friend, hey, go to this link and you can download this file. Again, the caveat being it's a file that you personally designed. It's not cool to take other people's files and put those on Google Drive, even if you've bought them, because that license for where you bought them is for you specifically. But Google Drive is a great way to be able to share stuff very, very easily once it's inside that zipped folder. It's a great way to be able to download and upload things so that more than one person can access them. Also, you don't have to worry about paying for it, right? Now, depending on your storage size, you might eventually need to, but it is a good free way to be able to distribute a file. So that's the next one I have for you. So the first way to actually share it once it's zipped is via email. The second way is via Google Drive. And then the third way is via a website. Like, let's say that you get designing and you're like, you know what, I really actually love this and I kind of want to share my stuff a little bit more to the masses. You can actually have your own website where you distribute your files for free or paid, up to you. But that's another great way to be able to distribute. Now, If you're just making something for like a charity or a fundraiser, that's not going to be the best way. Okay. The best way, if you're making it for your friend or maybe your school or something like that, is probably Google Drive. Again, though, contact that printing company to find out what file type they actually need, and then how they would like it delivered to them. Because a lot of times there's a lot of specific requirements of what they want. But the next way is via a website. A website's a great way to be able, if you want to maybe have deliver them for free, or even eventually have people purchase them. You could even open up an Etsy or join a platform like Design Bundles or So Fancy to have your designs featured on there. So it's really kind of, you've got several options there. But again, when you're first deciding, this question today comes from how can I get my SVG file from me to other people? The first thing that you want to keep in mind is if you're trying to go to a company or somewhere to print your shirts, you're going to want to find out what file type they specifically need. The second thing you're going to want to make sure that you do with your files is make sure that they are inside of a zipped folder. And then the three ways that you can actually deliver them to people are number one, via email inside that zip folder. Number two, via Google Drive inside that zipped folder. And then number three, via a website or a platform of your choice. Again, inside of a zipped folder. Catching the hint here? Make sure they're in those zip folders. It'll keep your files nice and safe. They're inside those little bubbles. So if you found value in this video, or maybe you learned something new, I'd appreciate if you showed it a little bit of love. And if you have a question, make sure to send it in to info@mydesignsinthechaos.com. I'm going to put that right up here on the screen one more time. If you have questions about SVG files or designing SVG files, while we are right in the middle of our series, The Daily Dose of Design. And then I will see you guys back here tomorrow for episode number 6. Okay, have a great one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.